Hey guys, my name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. Today, the Forgotten Races review chugs right on. We're going to talk about a race that's a little more common as we wrap up the races that appear as core races in the Starfinder RPG. Today, we're talking about Ratfolk. Now, Ratfolk don't really have much of a place in ancient mythology on planet Earth. Sure, we have rats in Asian mythologies as symbols of good luck, industry, things like that. In Western mythologies as symbols of bad fortune or, bubonic plague. But they don't really exist as anthropomorphic humanoid rats anywhere in mythology. The origins of Ratfolk fall square on the shoulders of Wizards of the Coast and Alderac Entertainment, those being the creators of Dungeons & Dragons / Magic the Gathering / Legend of the Five Rings, respectively. In Magic the Gathering, on the plane of Kamigawa, we see these anthropomorphic rats called Nezumi associated with black mana. Often you see them as ninjas, things like this. That translates right over into the setting of Rokugan in Legend of the Five Rings, where a Nezumi is a playable race. A possible connection between the real world and the RPG world to the Nezumi could be Nezumi Kozo, the nickname of essentially a Japanese Robin Hood who's been commemorated in kabuki, folk songs, things like that. More or less, you're looking at the same kind of guy going off stealing from the rich, credited with the impressive theft of over 30,000 ryu. Eventually he gets caught, he gets beheaded. So many people chip away at this guy's tomb for Lucky Charms that several times his tombstone has to be replaced, even shortly after his death. Though Nezumi Kozo is not technically a rat folk, Nezumi does mean rat in Japanese. Oftentimes, at least I see my rats playing dexterous characters, rogues, ninjas, monks, things of that nature, and I would say this is the connection. Starfinder's Ratfolk, also called ysoki, originate from the planet Akiton. In Pathfinder, the planet Akiton exists in the Distant Worlds book, but these guys can come from all over the place. They can live pretty much anywhere, they form relationships with pretty much anybody, they're pretty friendly. The same is true for Golarion's Ratfolk. They tend to live in big urban areas, often dwelling in the shadow of larger races living in their sewers, living in abandoned buildings, forming these tightly knit family groups in warrens, not unlike actual rats. By their very nature, Ratfolk are tinkerers and hoarders, so it's not uncommon for a Ratfolk adventurer or NPC to often have a side project he's working on while he's adventuring, whether that be your Ratfolk alchemist is working on a new formula that has absolutely nothing to do with combat or with buffing the party, or perhaps when the Ratfolk rogue disables a trap, he takes little pieces of it and learns how to build maybe not even other traps, just random knickknacks, because that's what they do. Ratfolk love the stockpiles of interesting items they can get more than money, and they'd much rather just trade for weird trinkets and knickknacks to add to their collection than they would to get actual gold. Ratfolk average around 4 feet tall and weigh about 80 pounds. Oftentimes, in societies where people look down on rats, they'll wear these really thick robes to disguise themselves so they can pass for a halfling or a gnome, say. They know that other humanoids will look down on their rat tails, rat noses, find them distasteful, even find them downright unclean, which is often untrue. Now let's get to the fun bit and go down to the stats. Ratfolk get a +2 dexterity and a +2 intelligence with a -2 to strength. They are humanoids with the Ratfolk subtype, size category small with a base speed of 20 feet. They begin play speaking common. They have a certain table for languages that they can learn with high intelligence. Again, as long as something's not secret, I have no problem, and I encourage GMs to throw this out and let them pick whatever language that they want to. Ratfolk get a +2 racial bonus on craft alchemy checks, perception checks, and use magic device checks, as well as a +4 racial bonus on handle animal checks made to influence rodents. They get dark vision out to 60 feet and have this fun little offensive racial trait called swarming. This means up to 2 Ratfolk can share the same square in combat. If 2 Ratfolk share the same square and attack the same bad guy, they are considered to be flanking that foe as if they were in opposite squares. So how do we go about playing these guys? Honestly, there's a lot of ways you can go with it. The dark vision combined with the +4 bonus to our stealth leads me to believe that these guys would make really good scouts, whether that be a ninja, a rogue, a ranger, anybody who's got to go sneak into a place, get the information, get out without being seen. Ratfolk lend themselves to that, especially in terms of their size. Never underestimate the power of a small or smaller creature and their ability to get in and out of places, or even just hide under the table by walking under the table. The racial bonus on craft alchemy, perception, and use magic device can be played all over the place as well. Perception is probably the most rolled skill in all of the Pathfinder role-playing game, and a lot of classes such as the Magus, the Cavalier, the Paladin just straight up don't get perception as a class skill, meaning oftentimes they're the ones who are going to miss the ninja that's sneaking up on you and get assassinated. The +2 bonus to perception means that the Paladin can look with his eyes and not just his detect evil. Personally though, and I might be a little biased because I've seen a player use this recently, I think the swarming racial trait is incredibly strong, and if I were to play a Ratfolk, I would petition my GM to let me play 2 characters at first level so I can take advantage of this. Now, if he doesn't want to go with that, there's always leadership, there's always classes that give you squires, there's always asking a friend, because parties are often more than one player, to also play a Ratfolk so you guys can swarm together. However you need to go about doing it, I think this ability is really strong for our vivisectionist alchemists, our rogues, our ninjas. For Ratfolk, we don't have to worry about getting behind the bad guy, provoking attacks of opportunity along the way. We just walk up with our buddy, stab, stab, get our sneak attack. So have you ever played a Ratfolk before, whether that be Starfinders or Pathfinders? Did you like it? Do you have anything to add? Throw it in the comments below, and we'll keep the conversation going. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next race video comes out next Monday. Happy Labor Day, guys.